So kind of what we talked about, let's just kind of go through what we talked about. So on the video direction side, the real,
Show me this.
there's a couple pieces here that we want to make sure that we see, and that is that, let's see. All right. So typically what I'll do is I'll have a wide shot like this, and
Focus is up.
and for the choir, okay? And this will be to me, this is the go-to shot right there of where you can always kind of go back and you can see the whole choir and you can see Jim during the sermons run back and forth. If we're gonna have sermon notes, I try to standardize on sermon notes to be in the bottom right-hand corner, and you'll do your picture-in-picture, and the picture-in-picture now, you don't see on this screen, but you see on that screen, and for sermon notes, that seems to be about, I think we've agreed, this is about the best place to put them. Now, if Jim is doing scripture reading, okay, and typically at that point we have camera 4. So let's say now we're on camera 4, okay, and we're going up to where we would have a shot on camera 4 for Jim, which would be right there. In order to get the readings in, and when he's reading scripture, if you're right in the center and you do a picture-on-picture, the picture-on-picture may kind of be in the way of or cover him, and so that's why when you do that, you want to make sure that you're just a little bit. You want to be just a little bit to the left of center when you do either the scripture reading in the morning, say, like when Creighton or someone's doing that scripture reading, or when Jim stops, he's got his Bible out and he's doing the reading. Okay, and then typically for video, what I pretty much have standardized on that seems to work is this: is I'm going to pretend like this is camera 4 right here. So here's camera 4, which would be on Jim, and of course, and this would be following Jim back and forth as he sprints across the front there. That's about right here. And what I will do then is I will watch Jim when Jim turns his back to the congregation. Whoop, this is, bear with me for 1 second, sorry. So what I'll do is I'll always have this wide shot available, and so camera 4 would be on Jim going back and forth. If Jim turns his back to the congregation, I'll go to the wide shot. You know, if he's really being, dramatic with a lot of hand gestures, I'll go to the wide shot. And then as he stops and pauses, or he gets to one side of the screen or the other, right, and he starts to pause, to one side of the screen, then I'll go to the wide shot, and he'll be over to the left, and maybe he starts walking across the screen from left to right. When he gets to, about the, 2/3 over to the right, we'll go back to Jim again, and we'll show Jim again. I mean, it's just a dance back and forth. So camera 4 really wants to, focus on what's going to be seen by the congregation, be a little bit off center when there's any scripture reading going on, and hopefully when the initial sermon notes changes. I'd like to have that as well. But the rest of it is, as long as you keep Jim in a position where, and the shot is basically, the best shot is basically from about, knee to head, or a little bit, somewhere around there. That's a really good shot for Jim. You can see his shins to over his head. And the hard thing on camera 4 is to know how much space is at the top of his head or not as being displayed, and that's where you want to be in communication with the video director. Then the video director should be able to say, hey, I want you to, hey, up a little bit, down a little bit, and they should be able to set up where the height is appropriately here. Because again, when we do the video notes, or we do picture-in-picture, the picture-in-picture is, whoa, hold on here. The picture, when we do the picture-on-picture, it's typically going to be at the bottom right, because we're just standardizing on that.
How hard would it be, or how much trouble would it be for you to tell camera 4 that you're fixing to go to picture in picture.
And it happens too quickly. It just happens too quickly. I
So you just
can't.
need to constantly maintain that little bit to the left.
Yeah, and that's where that's where when I'm doing the video director role, that's where I'll, you know, if, oh, picture in picture and it's not in the right spot, well, what I would do then is I would go quickly to the shot that is wide real quick with the press of the button.
Right.
And then I would throw the picture on picture within a second or two on the bottom right.
So, but in answer to your question though, he doesn't know it because he doesn't have the insight like you do on ProPresenter. You know when he's fixing to go to sermon notes,
Well, you just,
because you're putting them
No,
on the
mine-
screen.
you just
my deal-
kinda have to
I've got two
anticipate
deals.
it, right?
I've got two deals out there. I got sermon notes. Okay, outline, which is his sermon notes, and scripture. If he's reading scripture, then the scripture's up there. When he quits reading scripture, I go to the sermon note and stay there
Okay,
for that screen until he starts to read scripture again, and then I go back to scripture.
So what I do
but
is
you
this.
know it, you know what he's doing, he doesn't know what he's doing.
But
You
you-
can tell him that we're fixing to go, right?
you just,
There again, just like he was saying, I mean, he's talking about his sermon, I mean, he's outlined here, and he's read 3 verses out of 7 verses on this deal. I've got the cursor sitting on the next verse. And he stops, opens his Bible and starts reading.
So,
It's that
yeah,
quick.
you
Yeah.
don't know exactly when it's gonna happen. You just have to watch him and listen to
Yeah.
anticipate.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing the camera
I do it
person has to
I do it by 2 years of, okay.
When Jim stops
Yeah,
and
no,
gets out his Bible
Yeah,
and
Just
looks,
thinking that you had some insight where he
But
might
it,
not
just
have.
like he's talking about how it happens so quick.
I mean, you kind of, you know, when Jim stops and he opens up his Bible, he looks down, that either at that moment or, you know, or a little bit after, because a lot of times he'll close up and he'll make another couple passes, but he's gonna stop sooner or later, and
Yeah.
as soon as he starts reading, the scripture, there's typically about a 1 or 2 second delay between those getting on the screen for picture on picture. So Jim is typically 3 or 4 words into the scripture by the time it comes on to be able to be presented. So we've got a little bit of time there.
If he's got his thumb in his Bible, he's got his finger in his Bible holding it in one hand,
Yeah.
he's not gonna go to scripture. But like
So
you
it's
say,
just, so as the
but when
camera,
he stops and opens it up, then from then on until he either closes it up or moves, you gotta be prepared, because he'll go right to it, just out of the clear blue of what he's talking about.
The only thing I was saying is that you might have more insight.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd be any quicker to,
Maybe you don't, so.
I don't know if there'd be any quicker to tell him
Do you want me to?
You know,
than him even just noticing it because it happened.
so a couple other key parts of the whole sermon here is that at the end, okay, I only put lyrics on songs. I don't do lyrics for the opening song or the closing song. And what I do for the closing song is I have a wide shot on camera 2 that shows the congregation holding hands and singing, okay? And what I'd like to have is I would like to have camera 3, okay, basically be on hold on here. I want camera 3 to be on David, okay? And so what's gonna happen is, we're gonna be singing along, and then I'm gonna go to David Dugan real quick, and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna be singing along, and then pretty soon, you know, about a verse and a half in, David's gonna raise his hand and he's gonna say, hey, that's it. So when it gets to that point, I'll go on David, David will send everybody off, at which time, when he says, goodbye, everybody, and then I'll do the fade to black, and I'll stop the recording.
So where do you want camera 4 during that
I
period?
want camera 4 at that time to be on the pulpit, so the entire time,
So you want 4, not 3?
yeah, I'm just using 3 because we don't have 4 right now. So camera 4, for the closing song, I want camera 4 to stay on David. Don't even move until I say we're done recording, because what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be going wide shot, everybody holding hands singing, to David, back and forth, and I'm gonna close on David. The other thing now is, you know, kind of going back in the sermon, is that for the invitation, okay? Basically, I think that from my perspective, the best shot on the invitation for camera 4 is to just kind of keep, is Jim will be down here somewhere, right?
In the center, yeah.
In the center. And as he walks down, you get on Jim, but pretty soon, David's gonna be up there, and one of the best shots from camera 4 is basically to have David up in the upper left-hand corner, so you don't chop his head off, okay? And then you have Jim that you can see in here. And what I'll do again is I will just go, you know, between this shot, which would be camera 4, and the wide shot back and forth, okay? And that keeps David's head up there, you know, so he's not, you know, getting scalped, and it keeps a nice close shot of Jim. And that's what you do, just stay on that the whole time. And then once the invitation is over, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to quickly go to, I'm gonna quickly go to a wide shot again, right? And that will allow, you know, a shot about like this, as everybody's walking up back on the stage there. So those are the real key points. The other point would be, let's talk about announcements, okay? So for announcements, I will have the camera like this, okay? As everybody, I always have the camera out as people are walking up and down the stage, right? Let's see the action, it's gonna be on the video. But once they get pretty much settled up behind the pulpit there, I would want camera 4 now, okay, to be pretty close in, you know, about like this, and depending upon what it is, you could either be a little bit closer, okay? But here's for the announcement. Now with the announcement, you were always Johnny, whoa, didn't mean to do that, sorry. For the announcements, okay, there's always gonna be the propensity on the announcements to have, so this would be the announcements, to have, okay, we have anniversaries today, right? So so I'm always ready on the input 5, so that when if someone comes up on anniversary, I do picture in picture real quick, it shows their picture, or it shows their names, right? And then they come off again, and we have the
Now
announcements.
supposedly, from what David told me a couple of weeks ago, they are going to try to have the anniversaries on the very front pew on the right-hand side, from the sound booth, from this side. They're gonna try to have all of the anniversaries on that front pew, so they all stand up together, and you don't have to.
Yeah, the only issue right there with that, and we'll have to have some further discussions on that.
'Cause we don't have a camera.
If we don't have a camera there, so for right now, I
We
think.
still need a camera underneath the
Yeah, but
baptistry.
that's in the future, right?
Yeah.
So for right now, I'm just letting you know, for announcements, you know, I'm ready to put the folks on for the anniversary. And then again, for the scripture reading, you know.
But you're just showing a photograph that he's got on.
Yeah, I'm on input 5, showing whatever's coming on input
Right.
5, you know, which is from whatever computer he's got switched on, is input 5, I show for that. And then for the scripture reading, you know, there's always a slide for the scripture reading that says this is, you know, John, Matthew, whatever
Right.
it is, right? And at that point, you know, again, I want to be able to, you know, if we're too close, you know, like I'll do this, if we're too close in on him, like this, right? And I want to do a picture-in-picture of the scripture reading, then, you know, it just doesn't really look too terribly good. And if we're really getting hot and heavy, right, and we want to get the feeling of, you know, if we're really close in, let's say the top of that box is, you know, someone's head here, right? I mean, there's really nothing I can do for picture-in-picture to make it kind of look right.
So really, unless we're in sermon mode, with Jim doing his sermon, then camera 4 actually needs to be under your direction.
Well, I don't see, the issue is that I can't direct camera 4 like we think we can, right? I can only make some suggestions for fine tuning in that. The way, if what we've talked about is we want to, at this point, get to a
No, I mean, you
consistent
could say,
sermon.
give me a shot of the pulpit, or give me a shot of this, or that, and then, like you say, it's gonna be whoever's running the camera would have to go, well, okay.
And I can be.
I go to this, and you can say, well, closer in or closer out.
As I say, set it for picture, Set up for PIP?
Yeah, and so, set up for, okay, that'll be command. Hey, we're setting up for picture-in-picture, you know, and
So when you have picture-in-picture, you pretty much need to have camera 4 focus to where it's got all of the brown cross in the screen.
yeah. Right.
Yeah, camera 4 should be centered.
Well, I thought
Your
you just-
camera
what you
4
just said
image
was-
should be from here over.
So
Well,
picture.
you said a while ago though, need ahead, and all you're gonna do for picture-in-picture is just a little off-center.
If this was camera 4 right now, if this shot right there was camera 4, and I did picture-in-picture for a scripture reading, that would be awesome, and we could probably even go a little bit more, whoops, we could probably even go just a little more in here.
You gotta need ahead and you're still good, all right?
Yeah, as long as we're offset, well,
Need
So
ahead
that-
offset,
That cross that's on that camera
need ahead offset.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just,
just
Needs to be on the left shoulder.
needs to be on the left shoulder or just a little bit to the left of him. And
Right.
then whatever he does in here with picture-in-picture will work fine.
yeah, that's correct.
It's a matter of if you get him over here, you know, if this is moved over to here, then you got a problem.
it's just, and it's not much, you know, it's not much. But I think, I mean, but those are the main points of it, right? We kind of went back through it, but as long, and again, the only other thing let's talk about real quick, what happens at the very beginning when at the opening, when we have the, when we have the meet and greet, okay? So during the meet and greet, I don't play lyrics during the meet and greet, okay? And there's two things that I do. Number one is I will pull back the camera 4, but here's camera 2, I'll pull back here. I'll have camera 3 pulled back into kind of a wide shot like this, and I'll have camera 1 pulled back into kind of a shot like this or something. And what I'll do is I'll just go between the different cameras as everybody's meeting and greeting, okay?
Well, the lighting on camera 1 is.
It's terrible, I can never get it right. I rarely use camera 1, but I'll do this. Now, here's the thing, what I'd like to see is the camera 4 is down a little bit lower, right? And I really love this shot from camera 4 during the meet and greet, and what it would be, and I'll see if I can emulate it here. Okay, we're gonna turn the pan sweep down a little bit. Hold on, turn the pan sweep up a little bit. Okay, you know, let's say this is camera 4, right? You got everybody just having a great time, right? You just go all the way to the left, right? Pause for a second. And if I see this happening, I'm gonna go to camera 4, okay? And I'm gonna see camera 4 then go, you know, this right here, all the way to the right, you know, and then come back to the center. And at this time, you know, I'll probably have camera 2 set up a little bit closer, so that while camera 4 is coming from this broader shot, going back to the pulpit, I'll be on a wide shot on camera 2 to allow that to happen, and then we start the sermon. You know, I mean, that seems to work really well. I really love the camera. I really love the camera 4 shot panning into the congregation. And my feeling on that is that if you're a shut-in and you're looking at this, you're seeing all your buds out there,
Yeah.
right? And it's a fellowship time, and it gets some really good video by doing that. And again, you know, as long as camera 4 does not do things like, you know, let me do this real quick. As long as camera 4 is, you know, doesn't do crazy things like, you know, real fast and stuff, I have the ability to always have that wide shot to go to, you know. And so, you know, let's say you're over here and now, hey, you need to get to the pulpit, okay? Well, instead of, you know, wham, zip into the pulpit, okay, you just go ahead and just, you know, kind of slowly go to the, you know, well, hold on, it's maybe a little bit faster than that. I'm on camera 2, but just make your way faster than that. Hold on. just make your way to the pulpit as you would normal, you know, and bring it in, and I'll have the time, and that, by going, kind of starting off slowly going there, it won't, if I'm on camera 4, I'll see that, and I'll go to camera 2 real quick to get you the time to get to what you need, and I'll make up with a wide shot until you get settled. It's just that, the hard thing is if camera 4 moves really quickly, I mean, I'm not the Flash, you know, I just can't move quick enough. And that's really
I
about
think we
it.
can write all this down, like say, we can show pictures and then give it to somebody and say, okay, you want this, what you want? If they do, well, we can stick with it. If
I-
not,
Camera 4, when the choir is singing, only stay out wide.
Yeah, so this is the way I like camera 4 during the choir singing, okay? Is that if this is the rules I go by, okay? If the choir is singing and David back is to the choir, then it's a wide shot to the choir. Okay? And
Must
really
be
at
1
that
o'clock.
point, at
Right
that
after
point,
12.
you're showing what's on, I mean, that's what it is. And it's pretty much
Grace
like
is an
camera
hour
2.
early.
But you need to be
Really?
Johnny on the spot, because as
They
soon as
do
that
that.
song's over, because I'm gonna be wide too, right? As soon as that song's over, you're gonna need to be, you know, in here, ready to go. Because remember, I am gonna have a shot, I'm gonna have this shot ready, okay? And so, as people are starting to come up to the pulpit, I really want camera 4 to be ready for that pulpit shot that I can then go to. Because I'm gonna fade from a shot like this to camera 4.
Well, I think that's where we take use of the intercom system and say, either the camera 4 says, I'm moving camera, you know, repositioning camera 4, or you say, camera 4 zoom toward.
It seems easy, I mean, unfortunately, it seems easy, but you gotta push a button to do it, and when you do it, when camera 4 talks, you have to reach forward, you have to push a button.
That's right.
The camera always jerks
That
over.
we
that
can take
button
that.
is not in an easy
we can take
spot.
that, maybe relocate that some
That
way or
that
another.
button's hard to get, because you have to lean forward to hit the button.
Well,
You know, maybe that needs to be
They don't
a,
really like for the camera person to talk anyway, do they?
yeah, they don't.
that's during that's during the service, during the, Jim's part, during the sermon.
Okay.
I don't think before or after it would make a lot of difference because they're quote, not concentrating on the sermon.
But here's the thing, there's really, for camera 4, there's only like 5 shots, there's only like 5 specific portions in here, and and when we get that experience working together in that cadence, you're gonna know that, oh, hey, after this, I'm gonna go get this shot. And, hey, when we have this, we're gonna get this shot.
We have to have every video director doing it the same.
Well, that's gonna be the next key, right, is that we have to get that next level of consistency.
'Cause there's-
That's what I say, take pictures and snapshots and give it to them and look and let them decide, yeah, this is what we want, or no, we need to do this one a little different, this, come up with a
I'll get
deal, and then every video director that comes in here, this is the way you do it.
I'll take some screenshots from some videos and I'll put it on
Yeah.
a PowerPoint.
Have you got enough preset options where you can do morning presets and evening presets?
No, because well, yeah, I've got plenty of preset options, but the issue is that things always move around a little bit. So what I do, for my presets, you know, for camera 2 presets, I basically have 2, okay, or 3. I have 4. I have the preset number 1, which is the choir shot. I have a preset number 2, which is a little bit closer in for the wide sermon shot. I have preset number 3, which is kind of the all the way back shot. And then I have a preset number 4, which is a closer, you know, a closer shot, but it's off center for sermon notes if I need to have that. Those are the 4 camera 2 shots I have. For camera 3, you know, for camera 3, there's the only real precept I really use more than anything else is to get to the congregation shot, you know, and if I know what's going on, I might set some shots for that. But those are really the 4, and unfortunately, everything changes just a little bit each sermon, so you have to you know, be aware. and set them yourself. Every video director needs to set them themselves. Now, to set a preset, maybe you want to do that if you're going to be doing
The camera 4 should kind of be under your direction.
Yeah.
If the sermon's not in progress.
Well, yeah.
And like you say, have preset deals, but, you know, you can tell him, zoom in a little bit more, zoom out a little bit more, a
Yeah.
little bit higher, a little bit lower.
And you'll see, you know, you'll see by how much the video director's talking, right, is, you know, the more experience you get on it, the less the video director talks,
Right.
because there's only a few real precepts to work on, and the video director might go, oh, come out just a little bit, good, oh, good, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, because there's just not enough time for the video director to really do that level of direction, and since we don't have a delay, you know, everything is
And we
real
don't have enough,
time.
we don't have enough locked-in cameras.
The thing I do is I just have the safety net to go out.
Now, the monitor on the camera, I know you know, the little rectangle, stay about a 1/4 inch below the top line to make sure their head's in the picture. But do you see outside the lines on the
So
thing in here, you know, on the side of
you
the
do,
bottom?
the inner box, you do see on the outside some, but I don't have a good correlation between camera 4 and, let me take that back. I did a PowerPoint presentation on camera 4 and camera 2 that shows what we see when we're in here versus what the finished video looks like, okay?
Yeah.
And that's why I put the tape on the monitor, is because that is really a keep out area from once we get to the video, what is truncated on the sides and the top when the video is processed, for whatever magical reason that is, okay? What I have, what's hard is there's not a real rhyme or reason for me on the camera 4 in the inner and the outer box of where exactly everything's placed. And I think that the best solution is that early on, before the program starts, camera 4, let's just have a discussion. Okay, get someone up on the stage there. Okay, that's about where their head needs to be, and then you have to look in the camera to see where that is. There's not a real rule that says keep the person's head at the top of the line. No, that's too much room. Then I can't tell you exactly where it needs to be, but if we can at the very beginning of the sermon do that, then you can come in and
Because the cameraman sees this, you see this, and the video sees this.
yeah.
You know, we have 3 different stages there.
It's hard for me to imagine looking at that little screen, exactly what he's seeing
Yeah.
in here too.
Yeah, you
I wonder
can't.
if we could do the same thing on the camera.
No, because the camera.
Because as you zoom in, that
It
changes.
changes,
Yeah.
yeah, and what I did on here is I did 2 different shots here. I did one shot that I was really focusing on Jim here.
Right.
Okay, so that when we have the standard, Jim marathon shot, right, that we can see it, that we don't cut off his head. And then also I did it based to understand where we're at with the, in the backs, so that when we have the choir standing up, that we don't chop their heads off. Now, the one thing that I would like to do as much as possible is I would like for us to maybe have the discussions with David to, these outlier chairs here, right? I mean, we have choices to make of either cutting these people off or seeing if we can stack them higher and closer.
He changes that every.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I'm constantly changing the precepts. Because right now, because what I would like to do is I would like to, we have the.
Take that one and that one, put them here, take that one and that one, put them back
He
here.
may not realize the impact that he's creating.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would like to do. That is what I would like to do, right about like that for my wide shot.
Because almost every Sunday morning, you'll see him up there readjusting chairs, moving chairs.
But when we do this for this shot, we lose the outliers. And again, it's just a function of how we want to do it. For me, putting them more in the middle is better because I can get a tighter wide shot.
Well, it's better from a microphone standpoint as well.
It's
We're
time-
struggling
it's time
right
for
now
pizza.
with audio on some of the choir stuff because, matter of fact, we had the 2 outer microphones off last week seem to work better. So, and we're using the inner microphones, so it works better from a mic standpoint.
And then David put 10 people on the outside of the edge of the choir.
But again, I mean, but the thing for all of us to remember, or at least, you know, the way I figure it is, hey, you know, we want, you know, what have we been asked to do, right? A consistent program that's kind of the same, we're not, you know, we're not professionals, let's just get as good as consistent program as we can. For my own part, you know, the wide shot to the close-up shot with camera 4, just toggling back and forth, seems to be a consistent way of doing it. I'm not saying it's the best by any means, right? And we can't get fancy schmancy, but let's just get that working.
Put something together, give it to them and say, okay, what do you think? What do you want to change? What do you want to adjust? And then we can narrow it down until we get something that we know what they want, they know what we're doing, and then everybody can be on the same page.
I'll have some time to work on that in the next while.
Well, you said you work at home all the time.
Yeah, actually work though. Okay, so I think that's all, I mean, I think this is good, right? I mean, this is a good
No, that's what we
conversation.
need to do, yeah. We need to do that. It's great.
And,
And then keep Dugan and everybody else from bowing down to the squeakiest wheel out in the congregation.
I got that on
Says they
tape,
don't like it.
okay? All right, not tape, actually, it's,
What'd you say? Can you repeat
Yeah,
that
that-
one more time?
Yeah.
let me get the close-up when
Quit
we said
letting the
that.
squeaky wheel in the congregation run this place.
so the other thing, actually, while we're here, the other thing that I do for consistency
I don't have a problem with telling
is
anybody that.
I don't try to use, Terry's able to do it, I'm unable to do it, to use the pan and everything on camera 2. I always just do static shots on camera 2, and if I'm gonna follow, I let camera 4 do that. I've worked for the transition speed between the two different shots. You know, you have some choices, right? You can either just do a cut where it goes right, you know, where when you do it, it just goes right
2
over.
seconds.
Or you can do a fade. And what I kind of do is I do like a 0.02 second fade. It seems to be a little bit softer, okay? And your eye knows, you want to kind of do a cut, or from camera to camera. Another thing to look at is when you blink. Everybody pretty much blinks about the same time when they're watching something. So if you're blinking, they're going to be blinking, right? So if you can do a transition at a blink, then the audience doesn't even know it. It just magically happens. And I mean, so that's really, you know, that's the other big piece, is just standardizing on how we want to do this. If we have too big of fades,
Yes, too.
these big fades like this can be good at the very beginning or the very end of something.
It can be good during a particular program, a musical program or something like that.
But really, I would rather put those fades in electronically.
During the service, you want it to be quick.
Yeah, you know, but you know, it's quick versus harsh, right? That's, you know, this is not too, you know, this is with like 0.02 second fade on it, and again, this is with just the cut.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just personal preference of what you want. I like just a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit of that. Okay,
Good. Good stuff.
I'll just leave this up for you guys to play with today, and just play. Oh, let's do this one more thing, sorry, we got to to set a preset. People may not know how to set a preset. So so let's go in here to like camera 2, and you set the preset when you're in preview mode, okay? So I'm gonna take camera 2 here, and I'm gonna set a preset to right there, okay? So what you do is you go in and you push 2, until it beeps. Come on, you got the edit function here, right? Well, heck, that didn't work.
And didn't go into edit.
What happened there? Okay, so good thing we have. So here we go, right here, okay? So let's see, so we're at camera 2 right there. We're going to push the button. Okay, then it starts to
Flash.
flash. So hold it down for like 3 seconds. Then you push the button you want to go to, and then you push the camera 2 again. And that, now you have a preset. When you want to go to a preset, you just push the preset that you want to go to. Okay? And you wouldn't do this if you were the active screen, right? You wouldn't do it if you were the active screen,
No.
because the active screen is going to see that, right? And then here was one of these ones was the one that we just did, right? And then these are your presets all down there. But that's how you set the presets, and although what I try to do on camera 2 is just keep to a couple of the keys there, but you just basically, if you're doing the video directing, you got to be responsible for your own presets, right? You can't depend upon anybody else's presets because things change every single time. But that's how you change. Same thing on 3. So camera 3 gets can get bed pretty nice there at the let it kind of.
So the bottom 2 rows are the presets for what one you have chosen at the top up there on the camera.
So yeah, so program the
Yeah.
top keys
Got it.
are what
It's
is
in
what
program
it's going to be.
screen.
It's what's going to be on this. It's going to be what's going to be recorded
The live.
live, and then 2 is you set up your next shot, okay, and then when you hit the take button, you go from whatever your program button is to what your preview is. So I'm going to hit take, and you see how that just switched them. So what I do, because camera 4, right, is the most of the time I'm just toggling between camera 2 and camera 4. I mean that's my life. But there you go. That's all I've got to say about that.